in this tutorial and the next tutorial, we're going to look at how to create a web service. And before we do that, we need a database to do that. So I'm going to create a sample database which I've already prepared. So what I'll do is I'll first open my PG admin, and then I will log in. When it's ready, I'll log into it. I will also open my Visual Studio Code. Now what I'll do is that I have some scripts already prepared for this purpose, and what we're going to do now is first check whether our PG admin is already done. It's still opening. So when it's done, we'll first create a database. We'll create a table in it, and we'll insert data into it. So first I will log in into my PG admin, then I will go and open my service. As we already know, I'm dealing with my Postgres 10, and then when it opens, I will close it. I will just go there, click on any of the database, and then I will go to the query tool. So now what we're going to do is that we are creating a database, and the syntax as it denotes, we have create database, and then so here is the syntax. We are creating a database called SchoolDB. In it, we're going to create a table. So we have create database SchoolDB. So put my semicolon at the end, and I will click on execute. So when I execute it, I will go into the databases and refresh it. When I refresh it, I get a database called school database. So now I'll click on that database, and then I'll click on the query tool, which means that I have opened that database, and any query that I execute from this query tool will be executed on that database. If I don't do that and I execute on another database, we won't have our table created in this database. So now it's okay. We create our table. So we are creating a table, and then I will explain what are the constituents of the table. We have I didn't get it correctly. Okay, so let me copy again. So I paste here. So in create table, as we look at our last tutorial, when you want to create a table, you go to create table. If exists, to check whether the table already exists, or if it doesn't exist, then you create a table. So we are creating a table with a name student info, which has a column student UID, which is a big serial, mean that it's an auto increment. We have student ID, which is character varying. We have student name, which is character varying. We have student class, character varying, and then we have student program. I have guardian name, address, and then guardian phone number, and then current bill. So we are also creating a constraint, which is a primary key. So we are using our student UID as a primary key. So this is the database that we are creating. We will click on execute. So now that is executed, when we go and refresh, go to our schemas, you see public schema, and then on a public schema, when we refresh databases, when we refresh tables, we will get the table that has been created. So it's here with all the columns that has been specified. So our table has been created. Now we need to also inject some data into the database, where we have our insert statement, and then that will also do some inserting of data into the database for us. So this database is here. So now we have some insert statement which have the keywords. We have insert into, we specify our table name, we open brackets, and we specify the columns we are inserting the data into. So after that, we put in the values that we want to go into the database, and then when you execute it, the data goes into it. So what I'm going to do is just going to click on execute, and then we will see what happens. Now we see that all the data is in the database. So what we do is that we're going to right click on it, and we choose the table is there. We click on the table that we have created, student info, and then we go to view stroke edit data, and then we click on last 100. So now what it means is that we have the data that has been injected into the system, and this is what we're going to use in the web service to test. So basically this is sample data that has been created, and then we can use it to do our tutorials. One other thing that we need to learn is that when a table is created, it is normally easy for you to work with it, because all the other statements that we are going to use in the CRUD, which is the create, read, update, and delete, you can just generate them by right clicking on it, and you can go to create scripts. When you go to scripts, you have create script, which will give you the query that will create a table again. So you see, when you do this, you can get all the query that creates the table. When you run this thing on any other database, it will create a table. Secondly, if I want a table that a script or an SQL query that can delete any data from the system, data table, we can just click here, and we have delete from public, and then if there's any condition whether you want to delete by student ID, student name, and you put it in there. The next one, you go here, and then you can go to script, insert, you click here, you click on it, you have insert statement created for you. You can also go and then go to select, where you can get the select query to be used in your database, and any other thing that you want to do. So the next one is you go to here, you can also get update query on the table that you are dealing with, and apparently this is how you can get your queries to write. So this is how I also extracted queries that we are going to use in our web service creation. So now I think we will move on and go to our next video, where we actually create the web service, and we will test it how it's also going to look like. Thank you.